Hi, I'm Charlotte Sands, and I'm going to be explaining to you the making of my new music video, Keep Me Up All Night.
I don't think I've slept in a month. I don't wanna dream, it's too much. Playing in my head like a picture.
I had a vision for this music video. I feel like every time I write a song, I always have some visual idea for it, and if I don't, then I don't think the song is good enough. But this song was really tricky for me because I am an independent artist and I only have so much of a budget. And the visions I was having for this song were like these huge productions that were pretty unreasonable. I saw kind of like this landscapey thing. I wanted a bed and then like different landscapes. And at first it started, I wanted it to be in the woods, and I thought it would be really cool to have like a bed in the woods and like this feeling of isolation. And then I was like, I want it to be on a beach. And then we just kind of kept going back and forth with the location. But it really came down to like this discussion with Nick, who I made the video with. I had all these ideas, I brought them to Nick, and I was like, how do we pull this off? Where can we pull this off in Nashville, which is where we live? And it was really tricky. We had like no time. I've been flying everywhere. I've had like random show dates and not like a few days in a row where I can like shoot a music video and pull it off. 2 years ago at the beginning of COVID, I went on a road trip with one of my best friends, Brad. We drove to Salt Lake City, Utah, and did like the Salt Flats in Montana and Wyoming and all these like incredible places. And it was the first time I'd ever been to the desert. And the Moab desert was like the first time in my life I was like, this is like me if I was a landscape. I remember just being like, I've like never loved a place more, and I connected with it so much. And I remember sitting outside of my patio with Nick and saying to him, I was like, something's not fitting right with the video yet, like the idea isn't there yet. And then I was like, what if we shot it in 4 different locations, like Moab Desert, Salt Lake City, Joshua Tree. I always almost call it Laguna Beach every time. I don't know why, I'm always Laguna. Joshua Tree, and then we shot one of them in Nashville. And he 100% always is like, let's do it, I'm down. How are we gonna do it? When should we do it? Let's just pull it off. It's not even a question. And I'm over here like, well, we have 4 days and it's next week, and we would have to fly from each place, rent a car, drive, do all this stuff, and we did. So I spent hours and hours and hours one day, basically right after we had that conversation, and booked our flights and travel. I'm a logistics queen. But basically what we did is we flew to Los Angeles from Nashville, and we rented a car, drove to Joshua Tree, which was like 3.5 hours away. But the problem with this video is that we had to shoot every single scene in every different location at the same exact time of day. So we had to shoot them all at like sunset hour. But we drove to Joshua Tree, checked into our Airbnb at like 3 p.m. and then had to basically get ready and right away leave, go find a location to shoot. That first day was really stressful because I have never been there. We didn't have anyone planning our locations. We didn't have anyone who lived in these areas being like, oh yeah, come by this location. We basically got in the car and would drive around and pick a spot that we could shoot the video. Also, I once again had an idea when we were talking about the video. I was like, okay, what happens though, like at the climax of the song, something else has to happen. Like you can't just like keep doing the same shots over and over. It's gonna get boring. So then in my head, I was like, okay, what if there was one shot that I like go underwater, and then every shot after that in all these different landscapes that are obviously very dry and like desolate, I'm still soaking wet. And at the time I was like, that's gonna be cool, super easy to pull off. And then I realized that every single shot that we did, I was going to have to pour an entire like gallon of water on myself. So every single time, especially at Joshua Tree, that was the first time it got super chilly, and I had to like stand in the middle of the desert wearing all white and like pouring a bottle of water on my head. And also it's like all cactuses and stuff on the ground, and I'm wearing socks. So I was literally stepping on like cactuses and just getting like splinters and like cactuses. We just shot the desert scene for Keep Me Up All Night, and I had to pour a gallon of water on me. I'm freezing. Say hi to my crew.
We got a huge team here today.
We got a huge crew here. I want to say thank you to every single person
on my crew for staying all day and working their asses off.
You guys have been a huge help. Thank you so much.
Shooting day 1. Pulling splinters out of my foot.
So that night we got Subway, went back to our Airbnb, and then had to wake up early that next morning to drive back to LA because Nick was shooting Jordy's album release party. Great album called Mind Games. He's great. And I was going to the party, so that worked out really well. It's kind of another reason why we planned the trip at that time. We were like, okay, we can make both these things work. The problem was with this whole trip is that all of our flights to get to all the locations at the right time, we had to get on our flights by 7 a.m. every day because if we landed too late, we'd miss golden hour. We landed in Salt Lake City. At that point, we realized we have to just go straight to the locations. No matter how much time we think we have to just go straight. There's so much setting up to do. There's so much stuff to do. And it was basically Nick hand blowing up a air mattress by himself. And me doing my makeup in the car. We get there, it's so beautiful, by the way. But that was my big idea for the video. I remember seeing the salt flats and being I want to shoot it there so badly. I was there's no way we can pull this off. So when we finally were able to, being able to be there and the first scene of me laying in the bed and that kind of stuff, that just was the coolest thing in the whole world because it's exactly what I pictured in my mind. It looks like a different planet and it looks like it's just all white and it's so kind of eerie looking. So we stayed in Salt Lake City that night, and then the next day my idea was I wanted to go to the Moab Desert, but I was there's no way we'll be able to make it in time. It's 4 hours away. We'd have to drive 4 hours back that day. I was it's too much, and then we would have to wake up at 6 a.m. or 5 a.m. the next day to fly out. So I looked on my maps and I was I'm gonna find a location that is orange deserty, but that's closer, that's on the way to Moab, that's an hour or 2 away. I couldn't find any locations, everything that came up on the map that looked like it was an orange desert, we would drive through it and that was just the color of the map and not the actual dirt. And it was really important to me that the colors were really different and the comparison between the first shot to the second shot was really, really obvious, and it wasn't gonna be white to sand, it was white to orange, contrast, you know? We ended up driving and we drove to one town that was an hour and a half away, and then I was let's go back that way, we're gonna run out of time, so we drove 30 minutes back that way. And then both of us were kind of getting frustrated because we both knew that we have to decide now, we're gonna miss this shot. And Nick was do we just need to go to Moab? And I was I really don't want to make you drive 3 hours there. And he was let's just do it. And we did, and we decided at that point to drive 3.5 hours to the Moab Desert. We literally got there, I think, at 5:30, and the sun was going down at 6. So we had to literally blow up an air mattress, haul it through a national park. Is this illegal?
I don't know.
If any of this is illegal, all of this is made up and it was all just done on a green screen. If it's not illegal, this was all real and it was really difficult. But we basically got to the Moab Desert National Park, Arches National Park, I think. I was stressed out at that point because we were about to not have light and we had to set up this bed and do all this stuff. And there's also people taking pictures of beautiful canyons and stuff, and I'm over here filming a music video.
3, 2, 1, fall. 3, 2, 1, fall.
We are currently in Utah in the Arches. Is it Arches National Park? What's that called again?
Mount Rushmore. That's right there. That's Mount Rushmore.
We basically did everything on the fly. We really didn't have any shots planned out. We didn't really have time to actually plan the shots. So we just every single day were standing there, and I was in makeup and in all white, about to pour water on myself, and we'd look at each other and be okay, so we're gonna transition from what we did yesterday to this thing. If I flip my hair and do that, we talked through it while we were shooting without any structure and had to figure it out that way, which was really difficult, but also it makes me even more proud and happy that we were able to do it. So this is day 4. We had been on a flight basically every single day. We were kind of at our we're so sick of this, it was a lot, but also worth it and great and wonderful. But we got back to Nashville, and that's when we realized that we still had one more shot that we had to get. We had to get the water shot of me falling into the water, or all the scenes that I had poured water on myself in every single area wouldn't make sense. And I had a pretty obvious idea of what I wanted. I wanted it to be kind of like a beach, or a lake, and I wanted it to be like going underwater and coming back up, and then we're once again flashing through all these scenes and places that we were just in, but it's really hard because we had already filmed those, so you have to like do everything backwards kind of and figure out a way that it would all make sense together and transition into each other, even though we were shooting like the most important scene last. Basically the water was like absolutely disgusting, like it was all green, and I'm not kidding, it was like green water and like green foam, and it was just really nasty. I like the outdoors, I really do, but that was just, I hate mosquitoes. Like I hate mosquitoes. Like I really just don't feel like, I obviously know there's like a reason for them to be in our ecosystem. They have to like feed other insects, and that's important. But mosquitoes are like the most annoying thing. Mosquitoes and flies, there's like no reason for them. And there were probably like 47 mosquitoes on my legs. Like he was standing there talking to me, and I'm not kidding, I was literally like killing all these bugs the entire time we were standing there like shooting. It was disgusting. But we did it. Well, thank you to everybody who's watched the video. I hope you liked it. We enjoyed making it, so hopefully you love it as much as we enjoyed making it. But if you haven't seen it, go check it out. And also, if you aren't doing anything in January, February, March, April, May, I'm gonna be on tour, so come out and hang out and be playing this song live. We're also gonna be making like videos and fun stuff on the road, and and just behind the scenes of all my next videos. I think it's important to talk about the like behind the scenes of the creative process. It's like so fun for me. So we'll probably be making more videos on the road. Just like and subscribe. What's the sign off from that TikTok?